Welcome back to another episode of ROM Detectives. Today we're going to be playing Shadowgate for the Nintendo. This is a game that the cover art on this game just really did it for me. Seeing that gargoyle come to life, still gives me nightmares. I love this game. I love the style of game. This was the very first one of these types of games I ever played, and I really enjoyed it, despite the fact that it was so hard. But let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you some interesting things about how the game handles its items and how it handles pointers to the items and the inventory and things like that. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to make our way inside here. Actually, we're going to jump to a save state. I don't want to have you watch me do stuff. So first thing we're going to do, let's talk about items. So here you see I've got key 1 and key 2. Those can be found in memory address 496 and 497. This is the start of your inventory. This is where all the items in your goods list will show up. 58 is key 1, 59 is key 2. Now, one thing we can do is we can just put in whatever we want in here. We can give ourselves a new item. So I want to put 05 in here. Actually, let's put FF in here and 05 in here. This will make sense in a moment. You'll notice nothing actually changed in my goods list. Even though I put something there, it's not there. And this is common for old games like this. They don't refresh the screen unless they're expecting something to change. And since the game doesn't expect inventory to just magically appear, it doesn't update that. But if we say take a torch, it's going to force this to redraw. We get it, and now we see that I have the sword. That was what item number 5 is. So we can look at the sword, and yep, it's the sword. Oop, that was fast. Yep, there's our double-edged broadsword, great. But here's an interesting thing. If you actually try to use the sword, the game says you can't use what you didn't take. That's strange. What's going on here is the game has 2 pieces of information for items. One is, of course, whether you have it in your inventory or not. The other is, does it exist in the game state anymore? For example, this door has a state, whether it's locked or open. This door has a state, locked or open. This rug has a state, whether it's been burned or not. The torch that was here has a state. That is, did I take it or is it still there? Same with this torch here. Whether they're in your inventory is a completely separate piece of information. I'll show you what I mean here. If I move into this closet right here, we see, there's the sword. It's right there on the shelf. So why is it that I have it in my inventory? Well, because I put it in there via ROM hacking, it's now there, but the game doesn't know that it's been taken off the shelf. That's a separate piece of information. But this is still a pointer to the sword. So I can actually say, take the sword from my inventory, and it is the same as taking it from off the shelf. Watch this. Sword is now in hand. It disappears from there. Now the game doesn't actually move it. It just, there's 2 pieces of information. One, what is in slot 4 here, which was sword. The other, has sword been taken? That was a separate piece of information. By me taking it, it also triggers the game to say, okay, now I'll remove it from the shelf, but because it was already in my inventory, it doesn't need to do anything extra there. This is weird because it allows you to, you can put all sorts of stuff in your inventory. For example, if I put in item 16, and then I come here and I take this sling to force a refresh of my goods, you'll see that I now have the spear as well. That's item 16. But because it's not, the game doesn't actually know that I've taken it, it still thinks that it's in the dragon corridor. Now, if you've played this game, you know that if you try to take the spear from the dragon corridor, the dragon's going to breathe fire on you and kill you. But I should be safe to take the spear now that I'm in this closet far away from the dragon, right? Haha, no. The flames from the dragon's mouth still, they're very far reaching, and they got me and killed me. Now, that just shows you that this is just a pointer to the spear. It's not the spear itself. Let's go ahead and restart that. So that's, now you can force yourself to have these items and also trigger or eliminate the trigger by saying they don't exist in the game anymore. That's in a different spot of memory that I haven't been able to figure out yet, but we'll get there at some point. The interesting thing is I went through and I looked at all of the different items that you can get and put in your inventory, and some of them are a little weird. For example, check this out. I'm going to put item 2D in my inventory, and then I'm going to take one of these torches to force a refresh, and you see now it says I have a devil in my inventory. And this is actually the troll from the bridge. A terrible looking troll is standing in your way. And I can speak to him just as though I were in the room with him. He says with a strained face, I have nothing to say to you, go away. And if you, for example, try to hit him, he will pull the bridge out from under you and cause you just more death. This game has got plenty of ways to die, so let's go back. So there's other things that you can find. You can find a rug, you can put that in your inventory, a desk, a shark fin, lots of things that you wouldn't normally be able to pick up. I think some of these are just vestiges of the development cycle of when they were saying, well, maybe we should treat certain things as items rather than objects in the game, and so we'll make it so that you can put them in your inventory because it's an item just like anything else. And they probably figured out at some point this isn't a good idea and stopped, but they didn't go back and remove the code, so now you can still put the troll/devil into your inventory. Let's talk about movement through the game as well. Each room has a pointer. So if I come into this room, this has this is number 2, I believe. This is room number 1, and if we go back, this is room number 0. We can intercept what room you're moving into by using the debugger. Open up the debugger here, and I'm going to set a break or create a breakpoint here. We're going to do this in the program ROM. That's the actual ROM itself, and I just want to do an execution of this address. The address is going to be 1D059, and we're going to say okay there. We're going to resume. Now when I go to move, it's going to trigger this breakpoint, and it's going to say, all right, we're going to move into a new room. And then you can specify by going into the accumulator here what room we're going to go in. Ordinarily, it would go into room 1, which is the corridor. I'm going to change this to something different. I'm going to say, let's go far into the game, room 25. I can uncheck this now and say run. And you see, we are all the way into the throne room now. Now, the dialogue here is still the corridor, the entrance corridor, but that will clear up once I move here. So I can come back through here, and now we're back to normal dialogue. We've returned the game to understanding where it is. It's no longer dizzy from us teleporting. This allows you can put in whatever you want here and just jump to any room in the game. Now, of course, we're lacking a whole bunch of items that would be necessary in order to make any progress here, so we may have just soft locked ourselves, but it's something cool that you can do. In fact, actually, if we turn this back on, you can set this to all sorts of weird stuff. So like, I'm gonna jump to a room that doesn't even exist in the game. Let's go to room 40, for example. Uncheck this and run. Oops, did I think I did that wrong. Oh, no, yep, I have crashed the game. It is stuck here. The game doesn't like it when you try to go to rooms outside of the bounds of its normal rooms. And I went through and got every single room ID to figure out all of the different places, and I did find some interesting things, because this is what ROM Detectives is all about. It's about finding strange things in our game ROMs. So let's go ahead and move. Oh, I gotta turn my breakpoint back on. Let's get you back on, and let's go ahead and move back. All right, so now I'm gonna say, okay, let's go, instead of to the room, the corridor, let's go to room 1D. Turn that off and go through it. And we've gone to the room of death. Yes, in the game, the Grim Reaper scene is just treated as a different room. Now you can see there's nowhere to move in this room, and they didn't program the ability to look at anything. You can't open up his jaw. You could try talking to him, but it won't do you much good. You even try give him a good punch in the nose. Nothing happens. So we're stuck now. The game doesn't actually normally allow you to move into this game. It only uses it for the death scenes. But it's just interesting that this is a room. Actually, there's another thing that I want to show you. This one I thought was really cool. I'm going to go ahead and move. Actually, before we move forward on this, the room is 19. But before we go in there, I want to give you a little bit of backstory with this. If you've only ever played the Nintendo version of Shadowgate, this won't make much sense to you. But if you've played one of like the computer versions of the game, like the original Macintosh release, you might remember the Goblin Room. It was a pretty useless room. You could go in there and there were some goblins and it looked interesting, but if you tried to do anything, they would just kill you. So it was a pointless room. It doesn't exist in the Nintendo port. My guess is they realized, hey, there's already 99 ways to die. Do we really need to add another one? So they just removed it. And I'm pretty sure that they left a little bit of it behind, because if you try to go to room 19, let's switch this off and go ahead. Ah, look at this. Again, ignore the dialogue. That's because it's still reading the right dialogue from the room that we should have gone into. But there's nothing here to look at, nothing to take. It's just a buggy room. But if you look at the order of the room IDs, this room falls right in the spot for where the Goblin Room should be. So I believe this is an empty slot that they left behind, which was originally going to be the Goblin Room before they decided, you know what, let's just get rid of this. Let's scrap it. So they reused the graphics for something else, and they just left it around as it is. But this, I believe, is what's left of the Goblin Room. So there's one other thing I want to do. Let's go ahead and we're going to move back to the entranceway. This involves the items again. We can get rid of this guy now. And I'm going to put in my inventory item, let's do 6C. There is no item 6C. This just causes the game to wig out, kind of bizarre, but let's do it here. The moon casts a brilliant shadow over the grounds of the courtyard. The stone falls away to reveal a secret passage. This wood door is heavy, reinforced with heavy sheets of steel. The troll blows up like a volcano and throws a spear at your chest. Nothing happened, and we're stuck. You'll see all sorts of weird stuff by like looking at or taking items that don't actually exist, and you can even you'll find pieces of dialogue that have been removed from the game. They were written for the game but aren't actually used. Actually, if you go to the cutting room floor, tcrf.net, I believe it is, they have a long list of the dialogue that was cut from Shadowgate. I need to update that page actually with some of this extra information about the Goblin Room and some of these items that aren't actually items. But that'll be something for the future. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, looking at some of the items and rooms that no longer exist in the game, and I hope you'll join us in the next one. Please, if you enjoy what you're seeing here, like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.